Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Today is my latest installment in my deep dive into the 2024 presidential election series, and today's video focuses on the all-important battleground state of Georgia. Georgia was the closest swing state by margin of victory in the 2020 presidential election, which Joe Biden narrowly won. In 2024, it is looking like Georgia is once again going to be a very close and competitive swing state to watch on election night, and the winner of the state very well may be the next president of the United States. That's how close things are in Georgia. In today's video, I'm going to look at some election results from Georgia in the last few presidential elections, some polling data, and some key counties to watch for and more that will give you a sense of what we're watching for on Georgia for election night. First things first, in 2020, the state of Georgia was won by Joe Biden by just 0.24% of the vote. 0.24%, incredibly close. In 2016, Donald Trump won the state of Georgia by 5.1%, definitely more of a likely Republican state at the time in Georgia. It went about 5 points from 2016 to 2020, swinging a very large margin. In 2012, the Republican nominee for President Mitt Romney won the state of Georgia with 7.8% margin of victory. Right now, the current polling average has Donald Trump at 48.9%, Kamala Harris at 47.8%. So Trump has a 1.1% lead right now in Georgia. That is still too close to be considered anything other than a toss-up state in most circumstances. Looking at the latest national vote numbers, in 2020, Joe Biden won the popular vote by 4.4%. In 2016, Hillary Clinton won the popular vote by 2.1%. And in 2012, Barack Obama won the popular vote by 3.9%. That led to an average across the last three elections of 3.5 percentage points. Right now, in the current head-to-head national polling matchup of Donald Trump versus Kamala Harris currently leads Donald Trump by 1.4% in the national polls. However, that is 0.7% less than what Hillary Clinton got in 2016 when she won the popular vote but lost the electoral college. If on election night Harris is only leading by 1.4% in the national vote, that could be a sign that Donald Trump is in for a potential election night victory, because that's not enough of a nationwide win for Harris to have a comfortable chance at winning the electoral college in addition to the popular vote. For the state of Georgia and how it's voted, in 2020, Georgia voted 4.16% more Republican than the national vote and the popular vote of the United States. In 2016, Georgia voted 7.2% more Republican than the popular vote, and in 2012, it voted 11.7% more Republican than the popular vote. So the trend since 2012 has been Georgia has been getting less and less Republican compared to its history as a state. And what happens in 2024, it's looking like if Trump does win the state, that 4.16% will likely be up a little bit from 2020, but we'll have to wait and see for that. If Harris wins it, this trend is likely to continue. Looking at the average popular vote difference from 2012 to 2020, with obviously 2012 being a big factor into this, was Republican plus 7.7. From 2016 to 2020, 5.68% for the Republican. So as I can mention, going from taking 2012 out of it, it goes down about 2 points from 2016 and 2020, from 2012 to 2020. So that's certainly worth noting as why Georgia is becoming very competitive. Georgia's polling error compared in past elections. In 2020, the polls overestimated the Republicans in the state of Georgia by about 1.3%. In 2016, Georgia overestimated the Democrat by about 0.3%. And in 2012, Georgia overestimated the Republican by 2.8%. That led to an average from 2012 to 2020 of Republican plus 1.3, and an average difference between 2016 and 2020 of Republican plus 0.3. So still a little bit of a Republican boost, not a really massive number. I think it's more of the polling accurate swing state compared to some other ones, but still a little bit of a boost in the polls for Republicans based on the last three elections. Looking at the presidential forecast for the state of Georgia, no surprise here, Realtor Politics has it as a toss-up, as does Sabato's Crystal Ball, Inside Elections, Decision Desk HQ The Hill, and Cook Political Report all have Georgia as a very close toss-up state. Looking at some presidential polling averages, Realtor Politics has Trump up 0.9%. Silver Bulletin, Nate Silver's bulletin board, has 1.4% lead for Trump. 270 to win has a 1.2 for Trump. Decision Desk HQ has a 1.9 for Trump, and 538 has a 1.8% for Trump. So every single political polling forecaster in the polls has Donald Trump leading Georgia all of them have him leading under 2% of the vote, so that's very, very close, and all the polls are likely within the margin of error, but still a Trump lead nonetheless. Looking at the political forecasting markets, Polymarket in Georgia has Trump at 65, Harris at 35. The national on Polymarket for Trump as of the day I'm recording this is 60.5, Harris is 39.5. That is certainly an advantage for Donald Trump. At 65-35, that would be somewhere between like a lean to likely characterization for Trump to win that state. Looking at some key counties in the state of Georgia, I cannot stress this enough. Whoever wins Georgia, it all depends on the greater Atlanta suburbs, or the greater city of Atlanta and the Atlanta suburbs. This is the reason why in 2016, Donald Trump won Georgia and Joe Biden won it in 2020, was the increase of Democratic support in Atlanta and the surrounding Atlanta suburbs as well. There are a lot of key counties throughout the middle part of Georgia. For instance, in the middle, you have Washington County and Baldwin County, and those are two examples of very competitive ones. But the size of those counties, the amount of people, just doesn't compare to the greater Atlanta area. For example, Washington County, Joe Biden got a little over 4,700 votes. Trump got a little under 4,700 votes. When you look at just a county like Gwinnett County, which is just northeast of Atlanta, Biden got over 240,000 votes. The size of the counties around the Atlanta area is what made the massive difference between 2016 to 2020. So Cobb County, one of the Atlanta suburbs, was won by Romney in 2012 by 12.4%. 2016, it was won by Clinton by 2.2%, and then it jumped up 12 points in 2020, being won by 14.3%. This is why Biden, and again, you'll see all these massive jumps. Biden only won Georgia statewide by 0.3%. So with all these massive jumps, he still barely won the state. If Trump is going to win Georgia on election night, he doesn't have to win any of these counties, but he has to get these numbers down at least a good margin. That 14%, if it's 14% or above on election night, that's likely going to be a very good sign for Harris, unless Trump is able to drastically outperform in a lot of rural areas where he should already be doing good. Trump needs to get these numbers down compared to where they were in 2020. Cobb was 14.3 in 2020 for Biden. Gwinnett was 9.5 for Romney in 2012, 5.8 for Clinton in 2016, and then 18.2 in 2020, a 13-point swing. Fulton County, this is where Atlanta, the city itself is, was 29.8 in 2012, 41.6 in 2016, and 46.5 in 2020. It went up 5 additional points just in 4 years. And when the city of Atlanta is in the county, in Fulton County, where over 380,000 votes were cast for Joe Biden in 2020, that 5% gain can make a huge difference. In an election that was decided by about 20,000 votes, that could have been the winning numbers right there. DeKalb County, right next door to Fulton, 56.8 in 2012, 63.5 in 2016, 67.4 in 2020. Once again, 300,000 votes more cast for Biden in that county. A difference of about 4% gained there very well could have been the difference between Trump winning and losing the state of Georgia. Henry County, which is also surrounding the Atlanta areas, it was 3.3% in 2012 for Mitt Romney, 4.4 for Clinton in 2016, and 20.4 for Biden in 2020. I can't say it enough. If Trump is running these numbers in 2024, there's just not enough votes out there for him to win the state of Georgia. If he's running somewhere between 2016 and 2020, then Trump's in business. He has a decent shot to win the state. If Trump is running the 2016 numbers in a county like Henry, I think Trump's got a very good shot to win the state, but that depends, of course, on what the election day turnout ends up being. Clayton County, this is one where it's actually been pretty consistent. It was 70.1 in 2012, 70.6 in 2016, and 70.9 in 2020. So good news for Trump is there hasn't been massive growth there, only about 0.8% across the last 3 elections. Compared to some other counties like Cobb and Gwinnett and Fulton and DeKalb, it's not that bad. Douglas County was a 4-point win for Obama in 2012, a 10-point win in 2016 for Clinton, and then a 25-point win in 2020, a 15% jump. This was a big one, a big win for Biden in 2020, and a very hurtful one for Trump because there was about 40,000 votes or so cast for Biden in 2020. So again, a 15-point swing there is at least probably 10,000 votes or so, which could be enough to give Biden a lead over Trump as to why he won the state. Fayette County, this is one of the more Republican surrounding counties around Atlanta. It was a 31-point win for Romney in 2012, a 19.3% win in 2016 for Trump, and only a 6.8% win for Trump in 2020. So Fayette County, this was about 37,000, 3,800 or 38,000 votes for Trump in 2020. Trump needs to get these numbers up closer to 2016 than when he got in 2020 to have a good shot at winning the state. If Harris is going to perform similar to Biden in these Democratic areas, Trump needs to pick off a county like Fayette and boost his numbers to have a chance. Some key cities I'm watching, I put Atlanta with Fulton County. That's where it is. So some cities in addition to Atlanta and the Atlantic areas, because of course Atlanta is the name of the game. And Georgia, Augusta voted 37.2 for Biden in 2020. Savannah voted 18.8 for Biden in 2020, and Columbus voted 24.2 for Biden in 2020. Before I go on to the county map, I can't stress enough, it's all about the surrounding Atlanta areas. That will decide if the election is won or lost by Trump or Harris, and that is the most important place to watch on election night. Looking at the 2020 county map, statewide, Joe Biden got 49.5% of the vote. Donald Trump got 49.2%. Joe Biden won the state of Georgia right up here, right in Atlanta, right in the surrounding counties around Atlanta. This is where the election was won. Cobb County voted 56.3% for Joe Biden, 42% for Donald Trump. Gwinnett County was 58.4% for Joe Biden, 40.2% for Donald Trump. Fulton County, this is inner city Atlanta, was 72.7 to 26.2 for Biden. DeKalb was 83.1, 15.7. That was won by Biden. Henry County, 59.7 to 39.3, a win for Biden. Clayton County, 85 to 14.1, a win for Biden. Douglas County, 62 to 36.8, win for Biden. And Fayette County, 52.7, 45.9, a win for Trump. Now in Augusta, which you'll find Augusta in Muscogee County right over here, that was a win for Biden at 68 to 30.8. Columbus, this is Muscogee, this is Columbus, Richmond is where Augusta is. Augusta's right here. Muscogee County, this is where Columbus is over here, was 61.5 to 37.3, a win for Biden. And over here in Chatham County, this is where Savannah is, 58.7% for Biden, 39.9% for Trump. So again, you'll see a lot of red throughout the state of Georgia, where there'll be a few thousand votes in each of these counties. Trump will win all of these counties and win them big, and he'll do that also in the northern part of Georgia as well. But all those votes kind of get overpowered a little bit in the Atlanta metro area. So if Trump is going to win, this has to be the number one target up in the Atlanta area. Now looking at 2016, where Donald Trump did win statewide, look, as I mentioned, look at the margins. A lean characterization, a lean win in Cobb, a lean win in Newton, a lean win in Henry. Now go back to 2020. Solid Democratic win in Henry, likely win in Newton, likely win in Cobb. The margins, Trump does not need to win these counties to win the state of Georgia, but the margins have to be lower. It's all about the margins in those counties. Harris, however, it's all about trying to match what Joe Biden did in 2020. If Kamala Harris can match Joe Biden's percentages and margins in these counties, she has a decent chance at winning the state. The question is, can she get that in a national environment that likely won't be as favorable to her as 2020 was for Biden? So in 2016, Donald Trump got 50.4% of the statewide vote. Hillary Clinton got 45.3% of the statewide vote. In Cobb County, it was 48.4 for Clinton. Trump got 46.2, much closer than 2020. Gwinnett was 50.6 to 44.8, again, much closer than 2020. Fulton County, still a big Democratic win, but not as big as 2020, 68.9, 27.3. DeKalb County was 79.9 to 16.4 for Clinton. Henry County, 50.7, 46.3 for Clinton. Clayton County, 84.2, 13.6, a win for Clinton. Douglas County, 53.7 to 43 for Clinton. And Fayette was 57.5 to 38.2. Looking at the cities, again, Augusta, this is going to be in Richmond County right here, 64.6 for Clinton, 32.4 for Trump. Columbus and Muscogee County, 57.7 to 39.1, a win for Clinton. In Savannah and Chatham County, 55.6 to 40.7, a win for Clinton. So this is the 2016 map. Before this was the 2020 map. Now we're going to look briefly at the 2012 map, where Mitt Romney got 53.3% statewide. Barack Obama got 45.5% statewide. And again, look at the northern Atlanta area. Cobb County went red. Gwinnett County went red. Henry County went red. Fayette went red. Newton was less blue, is a lean Democrat. And number 2, which is Douglas County, that went blue, but not as much as 2016 and 2020. It's all about the surrounding Atlanta areas. Cobb County was 55.4 for Romney, 42.9 for Obama. Gwinnett was 53.9 for Romney, 44.7 for Obama. Fulton County was 64.3, 34.5. Obama won that one. DeKalb County, 77.8 to 21, a win for Obama. Henry County, 51.2, 47.9, a win for Romney. Clayton County, 84.8, 14.7, a win for Obama. Douglas County, 51.5, 47.5, a win for Obama, a very close win. Fayette was 65 to 33.7, a win for Romney. And Augusta was 66.5, 32.7, a win for Obama. Columbus, 60.3, 39, a win for Obama. And Savannah, 55.5 to 43.5, a win for Obama. That was the 2012 statewide map. Again, the rural counties will continue to vote red like they did for Romney in 2012, Trump in 2016, and Trump in 2020. They'll do so once again in 2024. This area, this middle part of the state, a lot smaller counties will have a lot of Democratic counties and close counties throughout the state. And, of course, every vote matters, the counties matter, but the surrounding Atlanta area, just due to the pure population of these counties. As I mentioned, Fulton, in 2020, Joe Biden got over 380,000 votes. Cobb County, over 220,000 for Biden. DeKalb, over 300,000 for Biden. And look at the surrounding areas. Henry, 73,000. Rockdale, 30,000. Walton, about 37,000. Douglas, 42,000. These areas have so many people living in such a close area. This is where the elections can be decided in Georgia. Now going into the respective political parties and using the election data to predict what the vote percentage will be for 2024. In 2020, even though Donald Trump lost the state, he got 49.2% of the vote, very, very close, 0.8% off from 50%. 2016, Trump got 50.4%, and in 2012, Mitt Romney got 53.3%. Taking the highest number of 53.3 minus the lowest number, 49.2, I found a difference of 4.1. I then used that number to conduct a range, which ended up getting 45.1% on the low end for Trump, on the high end of 57.4. Barring a massive polling miss, I'm very confident Trump will get within 45.1, 40, and 57.4 on election night. It's also worth noting the average vote percentage across the last three elections for the Republican candidate has been 51%. So that's on the Republican side. Now on the Democratic side, in 2020, Joe Biden won the state with 49.5% of the vote. That is worth noting. That is a plurality of the state. That was not a majority, but it was enough to win statewide. In 2016, Hillary Clinton got 45.3%, and in 2012, Barack Obama got 45.5%. The biggest question will be, was 2020 a beginning of a trend in Atlanta of Democrats getting near 49 to 50% of the vote, or does it revert back to what 2016 and 2012 was, of the mid 45-46% range? 2024 should provide us an answer to that. Looking at the range, again, I took the high end, which was 49.5, minus the low end of 44 or 45.3, got a low end of 41.1% and a high end of 53.7%. Barring a total polling miss, I am very confident Kamala Harris will get somewhere between these two numbers. And also, it's worth noting the average vote percentage across the last three elections was 46.8%. So the state of Georgia on the Democratic side is very interesting. Both ranges for the Republicans and Democrats go below 50% and go above 50% on the high ends, signifying this is a very close state that both candidates at their best have a very good shot to win this state, and both candidates at their worst both have a shot to lose this state. So all the range really tells us is Georgia is going to be incredibly, incredibly close, and it's essentially as close to a toss-up as it could really get. Now, just doing some quick recap of what I've gone over in this video, the state polling data for Donald Trump, for the state of Georgia right now, I say is a narrow lead for Donald Trump. The polls are very, very close, but Trump having a lead in the state of Georgia is better than not being in the lead, so that is an advantage for him. The head-to-head national polling data, in my view, this is a win for Trump because, yes, Harris is leading, but she's only leading by 1.4%. That's 0.7% what Clinton got in 2016, which was 2.1, and in 2020, Joe Biden got 4.4, and now she's down to 1.4%. If the national vote is essentially cut in a third from what it was in 2020, Kamala Harris, based on everything we've gone over in terms of how Georgia votes compared to the national vote, Kamala Harris will not be able to win the state of Georgia because the national vote overall is just too small for her, where in a state that's going to vote probably about 4 to 3.5 points more Republican than the popular vote, It just doesn't mathematically add up for Harris to be able to win Georgia if that popular vote is correct and it's 1.4%. That could be totally wrong, and the popular vote could end up being 2, 3, or 4%, and then Harris is completely in business and is capable of winning this state. But at 1.4%, which is the current polling average nationally, that's not enough for Harris to win the state of Georgia. The polling momentum, this one I went back and forth with because the polls are very, very tight, and there hasn't been a massive swing one way or another. The last few weeks or so, Trump has gone up about 0.3% in the state of Georgia. So that does mean that polling advantage and momentum does benefit Trump, but really not by a sizable margin. As for the polling error advantage, look, this benefits Kamala Harris. It absolutely does. It was Republican plus about 1.3 from 2012 to 2020, and Republican plus 0.3 from 2016 to 2020. Even though those numbers are small, I mean, that does mean the Republicans are overestimated from the actual election results. So just even by a little bit, that does benefit Kamala Harris. It certainly does. As for the forecaster ratings, I mean, look, this is a pure toss-up state. You're not going to get an advantage from Trump or Harris in this one. It's incredibly, incredibly close. The since 2012 election history trends, this is a win for Harris. The Democrats lost pretty badly in 2012 and 2016, but the Republican vote percentage did go down in those elections, but Joe Biden was able to win the state in 2020. So the Democrats have been the party that's improved the most in Georgia since 2012. That is an objective fact, and Kamala Harris would benefit from that. As for the forecasting markets, I mean, Donald Trump is certainly favoring in this one. He's leading in the poly market numbers in Georgia and nationally, so Trump gets a benefit from that. The Cook PVI of the state of Georgia, according to the site, is between 2 to 5% advantage for the Republicans, so that would benefit Trump. The trends from the 2012 advantage overall, it seems like Harris would get an advantage from that, similar to the question of the 2012 election history. It looks like if you're going to ask me, is Georgia going to be more like the margin of victory in 2020 of 0.24 or the Trump one in 2016 of 5.1? I think it's more likely to be under 1% than it is to be like a 5 or 6% win. So that would narrowly go for Harris and benefit Harris. The overall advantage, when you add all these up, is 5 wins for Trump according to my ratings, 3 wins for Harris according to my ratings. Very, very close, but that does give an overall advantage for Donald Trump over Kamala Harris. So now to the state of Georgia and its 16 electoral votes. First things first, I'm predicting Donald Trump will win the state of Georgia and its 16 electoral votes. Now the numbers, I give Trump 50.1% of the vote and Kamala Harris 48% of the vote. That is a margin of victory for Trump of 2.1%. That is a number that's obviously bigger than what Joe Biden won by in 2020 at 0.24, but smaller than what Trump won by in 2016 of 5.1. I think it's worth noting that, as I mentioned, in the surrounding Atlanta area, Georgia is not the same state that it was in 2016 or 2012. It is a competitive state. It is a pure swing state. It is very, very close. And the surrounding Atlanta areas, I think, will keep this to be a 2 or 3 point race on election night, given how many Democratic votes there are in that area. So I can't say Trump is going to win the state of Georgia by like 5 or 6 points because I just don't think it mathematically is feasible. However, I do think Trump is outperforming where he was in 2020. And I do think the national environment not being as strong for Harris as 2020 and 2024 most likely certainly hurts your chances at winning a state like Georgia, maybe more so than some other states and other toss-up states. So that is my prediction for the state of Georgia. Looking at the 2024 electoral map, after filling in every single state I've done in my deep dive series so far, starting up northwest in the state of Washington, now moving all the way across the country to the state of Georgia, Donald Trump has 231 electoral votes. Kamala Harris has 123 electoral votes. With a lot more states to go until Election Day, I'm going to do every single state. Next up will be the state of South Carolina, so please stay tuned for that one. Keep an eye out for that one. In the meantime, please enjoy the sneak peek at my full 2024 election night prediction. Please enjoy. That will do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to give it a like. And if you really liked it, please remember to click the subscribe button. And make sure you turn post notifications on so you always get notified when I post a new video. That way you never miss one. Also, please remember to share this video with your friends and family if you really like the video. And remember to stay tuned because I'll be posting at least one video every single day leading up until Election Day. So I'd really appreciate it if you keep coming back and watching those videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in a future video.